contact is ultimately the best thing, right? The best golfers, I think this is what is fundamental to the game of golf, not the grip, not the aim, not the setup. It's all the best golfers in the history of golf, the people who've ever played the game, all make contact the most consistently, the most predictably contact, right? So they're able to control where the club hits the ground and hit the middle of the face. They all hit the ball a reasonable enough distance to have a reasonable chance to score. So they all hit it far enough. They don't have to hit it miles, but we got to be able to do it reasonably fast. And then all good golfers can control or predict to some degree the direction that their ball is going. Contact, distance, direction. Distance and direction in a hierarchical sense are, subordinate to the contact. So without the contact, you cannot control distance or direction, right? So contact is ultimately the best thing, right? And so generally, when we talk about the necessity to make contact as the first level to play golf, what we see in really good golfers as far as movement patterns is they tend to stay more forward throughout the swing overall, just in their general location of their body mass. But they tend to stay a lot more centered or in the backswing, and then they move a lot more forward toward the target in the downswing, and they do it earlier, right? And then the width of their swing is typically a lot more consistent, whereas bad golfers tend to bend their wrists and their elbows way too much because their body movement is very inefficient as well, right? So they have a badly coordinated body movement that gets made up for by lots of chaotic wrist and arm movement, and they somehow learn how to self-organize that in a quarter of a second downswing to put the club face on the back of the ball in some way. But all of those extraneous sort of movements and manipulations are somewhat required because it's a system. Because they do all of this funny stuff in the backswing when they load it up, they have to do all this funny stuff in the downswing to kind of like reconcile and make up for it. So if you start changing stuff, the funny stuff in the downswing or the funny stuff in the backswing without some sort of, reconciliatory piece, then the whole thing messes up and it just becomes non-functional. So their bad swing was very inefficient, but it was functional. They can kind of know what they're doing, right? Most of the time. Sometimes it is completely non-functional, right? But there's all this lag period between when they start learning something, when they start changing emotion, to when their skill sets of what they're doing starts showing up. And most people lose it in that time period.